I'm on a journey to get better, and I want to do it with you. And I'm not just focusing on physical health. I'm focusing on everything: emotional wellness, spirituality, finances, relationships, and so much more. Every week, it will be my personal goal to bring us, the world's leading healers, experts, and game changers, to share groundbreaking secrets and tips to getting better in all areas of life. Getting better isn't easy, but it's a whole lot easier when we can do it together. Welcome to Better Together with me, Maria Menounos.
Happy Monday, everybody. It is our first day in the new studio. Woo! Better Together. Right here, you're watching us on YouTube live at the moment, right? This is our first live show, Scam Sabra.
So freaking exciting. Look at this place.
So for anybody who is listening, you can also watch this live on YouTube. We're going to start doing our shows live and on YouTube, so you can check us out there. But if you're watching us, check out our studio. Now, it's a little difficult. Steven, did you film the piece for this show so everyone can see the whole studio?
We have not yet.
Yeah,
but we're showcasing it.
Oh, so when were you going to decide to do this? This was for today. When were you going to tell me that this was not accomplished?
I have a teaser clip.
Where's the teaser clip?
I have it.
Oh.
Yeah.
But people on YouTube are supposed to have seen when I said, check out the studio, you're supposed to cut to this 360 view of the studio. Steven, really? Steven effed us. Oh, I can say fuck on this though. Steven fucked us.
I did an Instagram tease for our listeners who are a lot of the Instagrammers are usually podcasts, so I still wanted them to be able to see.
Wait, you did what?
I have an Instagram tease video for Instagram.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we'll show you. So at some point, Steven will do what I had asked him to get done for today, which was you guys getting to see the whole studio, because Kevin works so hard and it looks so beautiful, and we've called it the woke studio, right?
The dope woke studio.
The dope woke
according
studio.
to Kevin Undergaro.
It's very bright and light and lots of lemons and foliage, and it just feels really good.
It's very Maria Menounos, just like so bright and energizing.
So Kevin, when we were first dating, he used to leave me all these little notes like, honey, if you could do my laundry or whatever it was, right? Or have a great day. And it would always be something normal, but with like a penis on it. So today he drew me for good luck, a sun with a penis nose. And so that's what's here on my paper, and it's making me smile because it's vintage Kevin. We're excited to have you guys back with us. Thank you for joining us, whether you're listening on Apple Podcasts or you're watching us and listening to us live on YouTube. Our quote of the day: success is like a lightning bolt. It'll strike you when you least expect it, and you just have to keep the momentum going. You have to strike when the iron is hot. So for me, I just kept striking and striking to polish out the sword that I was making. And that is Michelle Phan, who is our guest today.
Yes!
In the New Woke Studio. She's our first guest in the New Woke Studio. We're really excited. If you're not familiar with Michelle, then you don't watch YouTube much. She is a digital pioneer and entrepreneur who crushed the game on YouTube, and has just been uber successful. But what I love, and I'm so excited to chat with her about, is her journey the last 2 years, because she quit YouTube, the thing that made her so famous and so crazily successful. And she kind of went on a new journey, on a spiritual journey, it sounds like, and gave everything up because she wasn't happy anymore.
And at the, like what you were saying, almost at the exact same time that you completely shifted, and why we're here today at a Better Together studio.
So true. I know we've had a similar path in some ways, or similar kind of journeys. And, she took care of her mom. I took care of my parents. Our main goal was to kind of be successful, to help them and help us all out of, kind of the sunken place, whatever you would call it. And she had the same kind of awakening at the same time as me. So I'm really excited to chat with her about, how she got better and who her influences were and how she came to love herself. Self-love was something that she was lacking. And that's something I've been trying to figure out lately is how do people figure out the self-love thing? Like, is there like a how-to? Is there a book we need to be finding? Because everyone's like, you have to love yourself before you can love anybody else. And it's like, okay, but how do you know if you really love yourself and if you don't? Like, I want to know. I want someone to break it down. Like, okay, Maria, here's the checklist. Nope, you don't love yourself enough. Okay. And then what's the solution? Like, how do I love myself and what are the steps to take? So that is an episode that we are going to orchestrate and figure out at some point, but maybe Michelle will help us get to it faster.
It's one of those things where you always read the quotes and you're like, that sounds really doable, but actually, how do you measure that? How can you actually do it? But what I'm really excited about, just like as a fan of the show, even though I'm on the show, is that you guys have similar-ish journeys in terms of really early, great success. Mm-hmm. But the difference being that hers was social media entwined and yours was more like the toxic entertainment industry, but the toxic social media industry, they're similar but different.
Yeah, so actually, when I think about it, she had the other part of it that I had where you become a machine and you're working. You're not enjoying any of it, let's say, because you're just working so much. And the exhaustion that comes, and then just you lose the spark and why you even started doing it in the first place kind of part. But then on top of it, I had to get abused and tortured along the way. So yeah, it's similar and it's different. So I'm excited to chat with her. In the meantime, Steven is still in the booth, I think sunk in now because he knows he screwed us over big time today. First of all, I'm going to tell you guys what happened this morning. So I woke up and I had a great morning. I was in a little bit of pain. So I went after Pilates and I got in my hot tub. I jumped in the pool. I cooled off. I felt good. My body felt good.
Skin's glowing.
Thank you. And then I was like, I had told Stephanie to come earlier because I said I want to screen the documentary. Sizzle. I've been working on a sizzle for my documentary for a bit, and I think I have it there, and I just wanted to see with another set of fresh eyes. So we get into position, we're about to watch it, and we're 5 or 6 minutes into this 10-minute thing, and Steven rings the doorbell, and I'm like, shit, because it's all off my phone. It's screening to Apple TV. Now, what you don't know, Steven, is it took a while for it to even work because of the spinning wheel nonsense.
No.
So you ring the bell and I wanted to kill you, but it wasn't your fault, obviously. So I also had told them last week, just ring the bell and I'll let you guys in with my phone app. It's super easy. Well, no, it is not super easy. It completely stopped the video. And then we spent the next half hour trying to get it back up on multiple internets, Wi-Fi, multiple TVs. We could not get it to work. So guess who never got to screen the sizzle and get the final notes out that I needed to get done this morning? Me. So I was in a very bad place. I allowed myself to not be zen and had like a little mental breakdown because I was very frustrated. And I was like, you can't be woke all the time.
But I actually like that. There was a moment because I was in the room and Maria said, I've been really good at controlling this. And I get to have this moment. And like, I think you absolutely do get to have those types of moments. I mean, we're
human.
Yeah.
And it was completely irrational.
But that's okay.
But I was like, I understand that. And my outside self knows that I'm acting really stupid right now and that none of this really matters and it's going to be fine. And it's totally not Steven's fault. In fact, it's mine. And then I was like, but I'm still going to kill him. So I was in the I was going to kill you phase.
I planned ahead. I gave you an outlet. I gave you a reason to actually want to kill me today.
So then I was like, I'm going to kill him. And I know I shouldn't, and it's not his fault. So we were all dying laughing about how I was going to kill you today. And then I went and I meditated in the backyard. And all of a sudden I felt fur up against me. Willie and Max literally came over and they like butted their bodies up against me. And they were just meditating with me, basically. Like they didn't move. And it was so beautiful. And I was like, thanks, guys. And so then I didn't want to kill you anymore. And now I'm back to wanting to kill you, Steven. I feel like you're like my brother.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things where it's like,
I was trying to pivot
I love
out
you,
of
but
that
I have
one
to
for
kill
you,
you.
Steven.
What?
I was trying to pivot out and go on to the animals because you did do something really, really funny this weekend. You received an award.
Oh, God.
At the VFTA Awards. You got the Lily Angel Award for celebrity advocacy.
Yeah, it's called Voice for the Animals. It's a really great organization in LA. They've done amazing things, and they honored me. And so Steph came with me and Kev.
But what she did, so she received the award. She had the greatest speech per usual. But then there was a point where they were auctioning. And they weren't getting like enough support, and all of a sudden I wasn't looking. I was emailing footage to someone during that.
Well, hold on, because here's let me set the stage. Yes. So they had an auction, and I usually I'm really good at running up the bid at an auction for charity.
You're really good at it.
So it was Lily Tomlin, and it was the prize, or the thing they were auctioning off was
her own voice recording for your voicemail.
Yeah.
So she would personalize a voicemail for you.
Yeah, so they start the bidding at $250, and I bid right after that, and then I kept bidding as it's going up to $500. So she's a legend, of course.
She is.
Even though I was laughing, I'm like, Kevin, I don't have voicemail. So anyway, I'm helping people get excited and running up the bid because then they knew they were competing with me and whatever. And then she said something about throwing in her Emmy's dress because it wasn't getting enough money. And they really needed to raise money for the charity. And, when you're a celebrity and you're up there and you're putting yourself up there and people aren't bidding, it's very embarrassing.
Especially she's a voice talent in her own on top of everything else she does. So probably a voice recording for her is thousands.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, oh gosh, let me help. And then so they said that she was going to give her Emmy's dress away. And she jumps in at one point because it's still not moving. And it's like, it's Carolina Herrera. So I Google it. I said, Lily Tomlin, Carolina Herrera, and I think it was Emmys, and I find the dress, and it was this chic, long sleeve, belted, beautiful gown. And I run up. Go ahead, you tell them.
She runs up and says that. Just literally that. She goes, it's a beautiful navy sleek dress. She starts selling the shit out of it. And everyone starts then bidding on and on. She's like, will you throw in the shoes? Maria put on her full salesman.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow.
Many thousands of dollars were made. Because I was like, listen, the dress alone is probably at least $5,000. Now it's Lily Tomlin's Emmy dress that you can have a picture of. And so, there it is.
So funny.
Anyway, we had fun. But I thought you were going to make fun of me for going up prematurely when I got my award.
That was funny too.
Because Lily announced me, and I thought they were running behind schedule because they had told me I was going to go up over an hour before I ended up going up. And so she just did a quick intro, and I was like, oh, they're probably not going to say anything more. So she said, Maria Menounos, and she paused. So I jump out of my seat, I get up on stage, and then she starts going on and on and on with this huge bio that just kept going on and on. I was like, oh, shoot. I'm like, I went up way too early.
You played it off so well, though, but you did go up early, but I would have done the same thing. Yeah. It sounded like the end of the introduction.
Yeah. So anyway, it was fun, though.
Really fun.
Oh, my God.
Really good event.
Anyway, we also had some fun this weekend with Kevin. I think he was driving home from that event.
It was.
Okay, so driving home from that event, Kevin was talking about his Christmas Starts in August podcast that he mentioned last week on the show. And he's like, I only have 50 views. And I said, well, honey, just keep throwing shit up against the wall. Something will work at some point. And he started dying laughing. He thought it was the funniest thing ever. And I said, if at first you don't succeed, try again. And so we started laughing. So I started filming this whole banter between the two of us. And I started begging people who were following me on Insta stories to go watch Kevin's Christmas Starts in August podcast on YouTube. And I said, please, I'm like, it's a pity call from my husband. So my best friend's texting me. She's like, you're evil. This is terrible. But we were having so much fun laughing about it.
It's hilarious.
But now people actually started following it. And it was such a beautiful opening, the Christmas Starts in August podcast, because, it's I think it's the scene from Rudolph. I love all the Christmas movies, the original, I think it's Rankin Bass, the Santa Claus is Coming to Towns and all that. So it was actually really nice. So Kevin was laughing. So we got a lot of pity views. And if you're watching at some point when we are done, obviously, you can go check out Christmas Starts in August on YouTube.
It's a really fun time.
Yeah.
It is really hilarious. But you guys doing that, I was dying. Because we had just left and I was like, what is she posting?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Craziness. It's always madness.
The best.
Anyway,
The
so
best.
is Michelle here?
Yes.
Should we get to the interview?
Yes. So we'll take
Okay.
a short little break.
Well, first we should kill Steven.
Yeah, we'll
Steven's
kill
just sitting
Steven.
in there mute, not talking at all.
Yeah.
Steven, how do you feel about me wanting to kill you right now?
I've gotten used to it. I was telling Steph the other day, I was like, Steph, I feel like there's something I'm forgetting.
Yeah.
I was like, Steph, what are we forgetting? I have
Yeah,
this
he
whole
did
list of
say
everything in
that.
front of me, and I know that I'm forgetting something, and what is it?
So what's the problem, Steven? Have you guys not learned to keep a list?
I have a list.
So why wasn't it on the list?
It was on the list, but we had discussed because we were going to swap out some of these TVs, and then I was working on Saturday with the logo with Kev of like swapping that out, that we decided last time to not do it, but it was still on my
Not
list.
me. Not I.
I thought
My eyes twitching.
Steph, you were there. I was like,
Why
Steph, should we
should
shoot
I
this?
Too much.
The sibling fight, the sibling altercation.
There's no fight
Am I
yet.
No, I know
crazy?
there's
Chris,
not at all.
Steph, am I crazy though?
That we wouldn't film it because of the monitors.
Yeah, I
No one
thought-
had that discussion with me. You people have discussions without me. That's fine.
It might have-
totally.
it might have been me-
Nobody has discussions with me because I end up walking into everything and realizing, oh, okay.
The biggest lesson I can give you listeners out there that I've learned in the past month from working with Maria is over communication is better than not enough communication.
Always.
I always double check things with her because I'd be like, oh, like I'd make assumptions that she knew what I was talking about and she didn't. And then
Yep.
things like this would happen.
Yep. So
I'm
Steven's
working
getting
on
killed
that.
today. Now,
Steven's
should we kill
working
him
on that.
before? We know we have to kill him after Michelle because we need him
need
to
him.
engineer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could put it on the wide shot if you want to kill me.
A killing live on YouTube. If you feel bad for Steven, you can comment in Apple Podcasts.
Please leave a review.
Well, I've started texting Kevin to get to you because I'll text the group chain with you and Kevin. I'm like, hey, Kevin, are we going to go with the blue logo? Can you just ask Maria if we're going to go with it? He's like,
I
just
never
go
got
with
a
it.
text from you about the blue logo.
Oh, I sent all the blue logos. Like, are we going with this? Didn't hear back. I was like, Kevin, can you just ask Maria? He's like, just go with it. And I'm like,
Never saw it.
Uh-oh.
But I knew you guys were working on something. It's all good. So if you are disappointed as a fan on YouTube that you're only seeing this shot, let's go to the other shot, that shot, or that shot, then just blame Steven. Because next week, he's going to promise to show you the whole studio, because this was supposed to be the unveiling, wasn't it?
We've unveiled, though.
Of the new woke studio. Now they're only seeing 3 shots of a beautiful studio.
It is
Anyway.
unreal. We have the best studio.
Anyhow, I'm playing. We'll see until the end of the show. We're gonna take a quick break, and then we're going to bring in Michelle. So stand by, everybody. All right, guys, we are back, and our guest today, as we told you earlier, is a digital pioneer and entrepreneur who's trailblazed the digital beauty industry. With over 8.9 million subscribers on her YouTube channel, her videos have been viewed more than 1 billion times. She's been featured on Forbes 30 Under 30 list for art and style, and is the founder of Ipsy. Please welcome Michelle Phan. We're like back to radio now. We're doing like big intros and clapping and stuff. It's so
You
funny
need
because
to narrate my life. I just need to hear you in the back of my head whenever I do anything. I'll
Well,
just feel immensely better. when
there's
brushing
so
my
much more
teeth,
to
washing my
say.
hair.
There's so much more to say about you too. We're just keeping it short. But, you know, like I said to you earlier, we're live on YouTube for the first time. But normally it's just, you know, it's on Apple Podcasts. So it's like a different format. So now we're trying to blend the two so that we can, you know, give everybody a little bit of everything, I guess. So
Ooh, cool.
we'll see how it
Hi,
works.
everyone.
So thanks for being here today. And you're our first guest in our new dope woke studio.
Dope Woke Studios.
Dope
It's a
woke.
dope woke studio.
That is dope
Yeah.
and very woke.
Yeah. So thanks for being here. It's funny. I've been like deep diving on you and researching and watching videos and stuff. And, you know, obviously for people who are listening that or watching that aren't as familiar with you, you've had an incredible career in the beauty industry digitally, because, you know, Steph was saying it was interesting, your whole kind of thought on us. Like I came up in the TV kind of mainstream world, and you came up like in the digital world. And
Same ages too, early 20s.
yeah, so
Yeah.
we both had success really early on. And you just, crushed with, your makeup tutorials. And I remember interviewing you. I just don't remember what network it was.
My apartment interviewing me.
Was it Access Hollywood or was it Extra?
I think it was Access Hollywood.
Okay.
This was when you were really active doing like TV, right?
Yeah, because it wasn't Extra. It definitely had to be Access. And I remember you were doing your makeup line.
Yes.
And you had like most people come out with like 1 or 2 SKUs. You had like 28 SKUs or something.
200 SKUs. Yeah.
200. Holy shit.
But this was
crazier.
with L'Oreal. L'Oreal backed up my brand, and this was the first time they ever created a brand from the ground up, because they normally do like M&A. They'll like acquire a brand and then they grow it into like $1 billion company. But this was the first time that they developed any brand with not just me, but just anyone in general. And so it was kind of experimental, but yeah, I learned a lot from that experience too. Because I learned also it's hard to operate fast and operate stealthily in a large corporation. When you're a large corporation, and you know how it is, like in network TV, it's not like having your YouTube channel. But you want to make a video whenever you want. If I want to make something, if I want to create a content, I don't have to go through 20 different people to get approvals.
Yeah. So there was good and bad, obviously, just like anything.
I treat it like it was like a business grad school for me. Yeah. The whole experience. I learned a lot.
So now that line that you created, 200 plus SKUs, this is insane. Is that what M Cosmetics is now?
Well, I had to buy my brand back from L'Oreal. Mm-hmm. So I went through 2 different transitions. Ipsy, which was a company I founded, but I left the company 2 years ago, acquired it from L'Oreal. And then I acquired the brand myself personally from Ipsy when I left. So now I actually fully own it. And it's actually really incredible when you fully own something of your own. Because I've in the past, I didn't have money to develop my own brand. I would have to do brand collaborations. I would have to, because as you would know, you need a lot to bootstrap. Well, during that time too, I didn't have easy access to like Alibaba. Like people today, if they want to create a brand, they can just go on Alibaba, download a WeChat, talk to someone from a factory, and launch a small SKU of like maybe 100 or 200 different products, like lashes if you want. Mm-hmm. But back then it was harder. It was much harder. And so I needed a brand. I needed to collaborate with a brand. But during that time, I learned so much about business, and I didn't even go to school for business. I had no idea I was even going to be in the world of business. I thought I was just going to work as a graphic designer, a humble job, totally fine, 9 to 5. That's cool as long as I get my paycheck. But 2008 crash happened, and I needed to figure out how am I going to pay for my student loan debt. Mm-hmm. And this is a problem I'm seeing with a lot of youth. A lot of youth right now, they don't know how they're going to pay off, and they're just defaulting their student loan right now. Yep. And it's kind of scary because I get so many DMs because I do a lot of stuff with Girl Boss, and so I'm getting a lot of DMs from women who are trying to figure out their future. I mean, it's pretty scary right now because it's not like 20 years ago. You could have easily gotten a college degree and then you're basically guaranteed a job. Yeah. And then you can, with that job, you can get a mortgage on a house and pay that off. But today like the millennials can't even afford a house because their student loan is like at least $100,000.
Yeah. But don't you feel like we always feel like it's so much harder now than it was then? Like you started at a time where no one knew. It was like the wild, wild west. Yeah. So what is that new thing that people could be, tapping into that will kind of explode their careers? Like it's always something. Like right now,
That's
entertainment
true.
news is completely going. It's dying. So there's got to be something new that comes in and is the new thing. Like, so when I'm mentoring all of our young hosts at AfterBuzz TV, I'm like, guys, stop looking at the extras and the Access Hollywoods and these shows as your future because they're hanging on by a thread. It's just a different world now with Instagram and social media. People don't need to come to us to break, the news about their new product line or whatever, or their new movie. They're doing it on their Instagrams themselves. So these all need to have their own new evolution. Like you have to create your own path now. But there are so many things at their fingertips. So how do you advise girls that are DMing you?
I advise them to actually look at the market and find a niche because the future is actually niche. Your niche can mean 10 million followers. That's pretty niche in the mainstream eyes. Yep. Mainstream would cover at least 100 million, right? So 10 million is considered niche, but for one person, It's a lot.
Huge. Yeah.
It's a lot of views. That's a lot of support. That's a lot of engagement. And it's in a sense, you have a powerful platform where you can influence people. So I think it's important to find a niche that no one is really developing consistently, whether it's product or content or music. It could be anything niche. And the fact that you're even doing live, like I don't really know a lot of people who are doing live podcasts like this setup like this too. I mean, this is pretty impressive.
Yeah. We kind of look at this like our Good Morning America for like the new generation.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, are you going to do it really early though?
No.
Good Morning America early.
Or West Coast.
No, but this is the beauty of
that.
life, right? You live it on your terms. I'm like, why do I have to wake up at 4 and be miserable? No.
That's true.
I'm going to be a much better host if I do it when I want to do it.
And everyone's looking at GMA later, anyways, in the day. Everything's
Are they really?
Yeah. A lot of people aren't watching it live anymore. It's the clips that they're posting. So they're not watching full episodes.
But now, because we're live, you guys are socialing right now to let everybody know we're live.
Yeah.
And so we're having to do like all new things, making sure everybody knows, hey, we're trying to do this live thing. And then everybody over here is on demand.
But see, that's cool because you own this. You can pretty much do whatever you want. If you want to turn this into like a live streaming gaming session with Maria and playing video, you could if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Pretty much do anything.
Yeah.
And I think this is the key is you have to put yourself in the shoes of a consumer or a viewer. If you are a viewer, if you're a consumer, what do you want? What do you want to wear? What do you want to watch? And then create that.
Yeah. It's interesting. We say the same thing. Kevin's always screaming about niches.
Really?
Yeah. He's such a visionary. So he's like niche.
Yeah.
So you had this incredible career and, I mean, super successful. And even with Ipsy, the delivery.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys were up to, last thing I was looking at one point was an interview, and that was old. It was like 700,000 deliveries a month of these beauty packages.
That was really long
and
ago
that
then.
exploded
3
to a
million.
whole nother level. Yeah. So 3 million of the beauty samples, which were like the pimped out beauty samples, not like your normal go to the counter, get beauty samples kind of thing. And you guys are still doing that.
Yeah, they're still doing it. They also have e-commerce now. So they have Ipsy Shopper because subscription, you hit a critical point where you're just not growing as much. I mean, every subscription company, and there's so many. I was looking at the market. You can get a subscription for your dog. You can get a subscription for like your grandma. You can get even like Netflix and Amazon. There's just so much choice now. And I think the problem also with the market is there's too much choice and people don't know what to do. And I think this is why Costco does really well with their merchandising, because unlike most grocery stores where you have like 50 different peanut butters to choose from, they'll curate it down to like 4.
Yes. Keep it simple.
Keep it simple, I mean, the illusion of choice, that's better than like too much choice.
Yeah, when I go to a restaurant and the menu's too big, first of all, I know it's not going to be good.
Yeah, that's true.
Because there's just too many options on there. They can't be good at all of these things. But a curated menu is so much better.
Yeah,
so,
like the Cheesecake Factory. It's like a Bible.
Yeah, it's too much. I get so overwhelmed. I get really overwhelmed easily. But you had this massive success and then you decided to walk away.
Yeah, I did.
And
that was hard.
I want to know about that part of your life so much more than anything else, because if anyone's a fan of yours, they've heard every interview. And, what I also connected with you was, you're growing up, you wanted to be successful to help your mom and your family.
Of course.
And was exactly what I wanted.
Immigrant parents, right?
Yeah. And so when Kevin and I first met, he's like, why do you want to make it so bad? And I was like, because I really want to help my parents have a better life. And we were able to do that. And then at some point, something happens and you're in this crazy gerbil wheel.
You are, yeah.
And you're going, and you're a machine. And I watched that video that you created, that animated video about why you left YouTube. And I connected so much with it. And we both left our industries at the same time. And I feel like had sabbatical at the same time.
Right now. That's
so
crazy.
I had brain surgery June 8th, 2017.
Wow.
You posted that video, I think it was June 1st, 2017.
Wow.
And so I kind of first of all, had to recover from major brain surgery, but also I knew I needed a rebirth. I knew I needed a new life. I was so miserable and so unhappy and so sick and it just wasn't feeding me anymore. I was just a machine and a robot. And so I connected so much with what you were saying. So now explain how you got to that place. And then I want to know everything that you did after and where you are now.
Well, I think we can both agree when you're in that gerbil wheel, you don't even realize you're running that fast. You don't even realize how tired you are because you're just going. And everything is just, the momentum is just keeping you moving.
And the immigrant work ethic.
Yeah, exactly. My parents had it harder, so I'm privileged. This is nothing, no big deal. And I did put my mental health aside. I put a lot of things aside. When you are, as an entrepreneur or anyone who's trying to pursue, in a sense, personal fulfillment and also their career at the same time, I think you do put a lot of your personal, I think you put a lot of your personal social life aside. I didn't really have a social life, so I didn't really have time to develop myself mentally. Like, who am I? Why am I doing this? I wake up, I look at my calendar. Okay, this on my calendar, to-do list, boom, 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 knock it all out, and the next day, and it just became like that, and that was my life. And when that becomes your life, and you don't have time to even think or even reflect, I think what ends up happening is it starts eating away at your soul inside, and you don't even realize it, but you feel it. You feel this anxiousness. You feel something's wrong, and maybe it comes out when you drink a little too much, and you're like, "Holy shit, why did I act like that?" You know. So, yeah, I decided. And I also reached a point in my career where I was happy, because I came from immigrant parents who came from the Vietnam War, so already living in America, I didn't really have much of a bright future because my parents were both immigrants and they didn't really have an education. They were both working third sector jobs, either working at a restaurant or construction work or work that didn't bring stability in their life. It was always month to month. And so for me, my future, I couldn't dream of being a business person. Like, that's why my mom wanted me to be a doctor. At least I can have some sort of stable income and I was respected. But academically, I don't think I was the best academically. So I felt like, wow, I'm just not good enough. And so finally, when I was able to achieve success through YouTube and everything, I had to tell myself, this is as good as it gets, and be okay with this. Because sometimes I feel like a lot of people, they want to compete with themselves. Like, okay, if I'm going to reach this success, then the next year I need to beat that.
Yeah.
And I need to beat that. And they start gamifying their own life, which is kind of weird. And you're competing with yourself. And I had to tell myself life isn't a competition. It's not a race. It's okay to be happy. It's okay to have enough. I think that's another thing I had to learn too is enough. When is enough enough?
Start socialing these quotes and bring people to the show stuff.
I am socialing literally right now.
You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah.
It's like, okay, I have one achievement, but then I need to get more. But why? I think one of Steve Jobs' biggest regrets, and everyone refers to him as, like, someone who has truly made it in that sense, is he regretted not spending time with his family. And that's something that you can't really buy back. You can't buy back memories like that or moments like that. So I had to tell myself, all these personal things I'm pushing aside, they're just going to fester and fester. And they're just, I know that on my deathbed, I'm not going to regret, dang, I wish I would have taken that meeting. I wish I would have taken that conference call. Like, I'm not going to regret that.
Nope.
You want to, on my deathbed, I want to be able to reflect on all the beautiful memories I made with my family and friends and loved ones. So that was when I decided, this is a good time to leave. I made it on the front cover of Forbes. Never thought in a million years I ever would. I'm able to take care of my family. I could take care of myself. This is a luxury. It's such a luxury to have this because most people don't have that. They live paycheck by paycheck. I think an average American today, if they were given a $500 bill, they can't afford it. Literally, most Americans, I think like over 50% are living paycheck by paycheck. So the fact that I can build wealth and plan out, my whole life and also the future generations of my family's life, I'm so blessed, and I should take this moment to appreciate it, be grateful, and in a way, like, you want to plant a tree and you want the fruits to grow. And how can you plant a tree if you don't have time to dig, or you don't have time to take care of the soil and everything? So me taking my break metaphorically was me tending to my soil.
Yeah. So you also talked about having experienced depression.
Yes.
That also obviously was at the same time, right?
Oh, yeah. Everything just crashed at the same time, like depression, anxiety, this realization of why am I doing this?
And when you look back, was it happening longer than you thought?
It was. I mean, it all crashed me and hit me at the same time, but I think it was festering for a very long time, and I was just ignoring it.
How old were you when you started succeeding at YouTube? Like that first video got like 40,000 views or something.
Yeah, I was 19.
You were 19.
I don't consider it success until making money. I think the moment when you can actually monetize off of that is when you have success. So I would say probably 22, because that was when I made enough money to feel comfortable enough to move to LA.
Okay.
And I can afford rent out here, and I can afford to, I can afford the means to live in LA.
So at what point at 2017 when you decided to walk away, how old were you?
How old was I? I think I was like 29.
29.
Yeah, I was 29.
So you'd be about 31 now.
32, yeah.
32. So 29. So you had probably a 7-year run of just nonstop.
It was nonstop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely nonstop because, I mean, you would understand because you're creating your own content.
Mm-hmm.
I had to produce my own content, edit it, be in it.
Come up with the creative.
And then come up with the creative and then do it all over again and all over again and all over again.
And feeding the beast is so much work.
It is because people are very hungry. And they consume it so fast too.
Yeah.
Like it could take you like a whole 2 weeks and then they consume it in like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man,
what
am I going to do? And then do it all over again and again and again.
So at 29, you decide I need to focus on my mental health and my emotional health and my spiritual health.
Everything. I need to focus on me.
Yeah.
Because I focused so much my entire life on everyone else, pleasing everyone else, making sure my family's okay, making sure my employees and everyone else is okay. And I kind of neglected me. And in a way,
you were a woman?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
In a way,
Michelle!
I needed to be self-centered. And I think self-centered is seen in such a negative way, but it's not. Like you need to recenter yourself because if you're not and you're disoriented, you're going to be making bad decisions that you're going to look back later on life. Why did I do that? It's because, well, you were not centered. You didn't reorientate yourself to, one, probably you were making a very emotional decision. 2, maybe you were just being reactive.
Yep.
So I feel like when you're more centered, you're not reacting. You're not reacting emotionally. You're not reacting too logically. Every decision you make is balanced. And I think that was a very important lesson for me to learn. Because I looked back and all of my past mistakes that I made, it was either because I was being too reactive because I'm an Aries.
Yeah.
So I make decisions based on like how I feel and I go headstrong into it. I don't even like think. I just go in. Or 2, I would make emotional decisions. So I had to learn that every decision I make, I need to make sure that my brain, my heart, and my stomach. So my instinct, my heart, and my brain, because scientists have learned that the heart has the same neurons as the brain. And so technically it is thinking, but it's thinking emotionally. That's why sometimes like you want to make a decision, but then your heart, right, tells you, oh, something feels off. Like you can literally feel something is off in your heart, even though logically it makes sense, but something in your heart's telling you, no, it doesn't. And the same thing with your stomach, it's linked to instinct. It's that feeling you get in your gut, something's off, something's wrong. So, and this is why like we see this in every sacred text. They talk about the body, mind, and spirit. The body being the stomach, the mind, of course, being the brain, and the heart. The spirit being like the heart. So, I had to learn that I had needed to respect all 3 of the Trinity of like body, mind, spirit before making any decision. And ever since I've implemented this into my life has been so much better.
Wow.
Every decision I make.
And where did you learn that?
I learned it a lot from, so after I took my hiatus, I just decided to travel around the world and I met a lot of just incredible people. But one place I went to that changed me spiritually was Egypt. I've always been attracted to Egypt. I always thought there was something very mystical I love magic. I love mysticism. And so Egypt is kind of like the home of all that. And so when I went there, I had this incredible guide. And this guide, he's not any normal guide. His father is one of the wisdom keepers of this Sufi tribe called the Dogons. And this Dogon tribe, they're very interesting. They're based in West Africa. So they live in West Africa. And even scientists are so baffled about their culture. For example, they've had an oral tradition that's over 5,000 years old. And within this oral tradition, they know the size and weight of Sirius A and Sirius B star. They knew that Jupiter had 4 moons a long time ago. So they knew about all of these facts that satellites that were invented maybe like 70 years ago discovered. So how do they know about a size and weight of a star that we can't even see with the invisible eye?
Yeah, how did they know?
And so when they ask, how did you know? They say, oh, the star people told us. The star people told us. I'm like, whoa, that's fascinating. Like, I love stuff like this. So when I went to Egypt, my guide is the son of one of the wisdom keepers of that tribe. And so he knew about all of the just incredible knowledge, immense knowledge about spiritualism and also Egypt too. And Egypt has so much mystery. And we don't really know a lot about the mysteries of Egypt. And some of the artifacts that I saw, we can't even build today. We can't even make it in 3D printing. So how did they make it back then?
That always blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like when you see the Great Wall, you're like, we couldn't do that today. How? How did they do that?
Well, they probably knew some technique. They probably knew some technique that we lost.
Yeah.
And that just comes to show, just because we're living in the future, it doesn't necessarily always mean progress. And I'm pretty sure back then, the quality of life, I'm talking about like back then, like thousands of years ago, they may not have had an iPhone, but if they were able to build stuff like this, I'm sure the quality of life was really good for them. Maybe slower, definitely slower. But it's so subjective too. Like how does one define quality? Today, one would think being connected to the entire world and getting feedback, input and output is quality, right? But then if you look at the buildings that we have today, they can't even last more than 50 years without maintenance. But if you look at the pyramids of Giza, they've been there for thousands of years and it's still perfect. So from the center of the pyramid to the tip, it's 1/4 of an inch off, which you can't find in any modern buildings today. And this is what's left of it. So in a way, like, I was just blown away when I went there. In a way, I was also humbled, like, wow, our ancestors made really beautiful things and we should learn from them. And so this was when I really got more interested in astrology and just understanding the world and understanding myself. And it fundamentally did change me in a good way, I feel.
So in your travels, how long did you travel for?
I traveled for a whole year.
And did people tell you, you should go to this place, you should go to that place, or did you just investigate yourself?
Like for example, my trip to Egypt, no one told me to. I just kept seeing Egyptian artifacts everywhere around me. So I was in Amsterdam and I kept seeing sphinxes everywhere. And I turned on the TV and Laura Croft was on. Like, okay, maybe I should go to Egypt. I mean, it's pretty close. And so that whole year was led by just coincidences. I don't really believe in coincidences, but it was led by
me
that.
Neither. So did you left LA and then you just kept bumping from place to place?
Yeah.
You never came back? You just kept going?
I just kept going.
Wow,
yeah, I went to China
for an entire year.
Yeah, I went to China, learned a lot about China too. Went to several different cities in China. And that was really fun because I feel like here in America, most people tend to think China's a certain way because, it's communist and all that. But honestly, when I was in China, I was in the tier 1 cities. Kind of felt like America, but everyone was Chinese.
Yeah.
There's like, you can shop. Everyone has like their own businesses. So it was kind of nice. And also with Egypt, people told me don't go, it's dangerous. But when I went, it was so safe. Everything was fine. I didn't feel like I was in danger at all. I feel like I'm sometimes more endangered here in LA.
Well, we know better too, so.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You go on this kind of year-long trip, and were you just saying to yourself, I need a mental break, like I'm just going to go enjoy my life? And did you travel with anybody? Or, what was your goal at that point?
I would say my goal at that point was I just wanted to learn. My whole life I'm told this is how the world is. And I think most people, they live the world according to how they live the world based on what everyone tells them how the world is. And that's how they act. but I told myself, if I'm taking this break, I also want to reset my mind. And the best way to reset your mind, and also I'm privileged too, is to travel. Like just travel, learn, eat new food, learn new like just hear new languages, put yourself in elements where you might be uncomfortable, because I think also sometimes when you're too comfortable, you're not going to grow as much as if you were put in a place where, you know, no one looks like you. Yeah. Even like the clothes I wore, it was different. Like in Egypt, everyone's like covered up from head to toe, but I'm like coming in my LA clothes, like, oh, okay, I'm gonna throw on a jacket. Yeah. So I just learned a lot about culture too, and I think that's really important. Learning about culture, understanding where culture comes from, and we come from, you know, our parents are immigrants, and so we come from a very strong cultural background. But I think growing up in America, sometimes you kind of lose that a bit because you're so ingrained in the culture here that when I'm able to travel outside of America and I'm able to see like Europe and Africa and China and the whole world, when I came back to LA, I'm like, wow. I mean, it almost felt like it was a dream. And it actually made me appreciate our country more too, because I realized, wow, we're actually a huge melting pot of so many different cultures. So it makes me sad sometimes when I see there's a lot of tension racially. It's like, but we're all the same. I mean, we're not in that sense, but we are, like, as humans. We're humans. We live on this beautiful planet and we breathe the same air, we see the same stars. So it was really nice to have that reset. And I don't think I would have had it had I not have found my success through my businesses, because most YouTubers I know today, they can't afford that luxury to take a hiatus like that. They have to maintain their views, because if they don't, the algorithm won't favor their videos. It won't push them to the top. And so their viewers won't see it, and then they lose viewership. And if they lose viewership, they lose AdSense money, and also brands won't pay them as much as they used to.
So then why did it work for you?
Because I built a business outside of YouTube. I had Ipsy.
Yeah.
If I didn't have Ipsy, if I didn't have my businesses outside of YouTube, I would probably still be grinding really hard. Yeah. And I don't think I would be upset at that, because I love working, but I mean, I love where I'm at now. I'm much happier where I'm at now than where I was before, when I was grinding 24/7.
So what do you think, you know, outside of the travel, what do you think helped you get better?
I would say time. I needed time to reflect. I needed time to heal, because I've also experienced a lot of childhood traumas that I just backburnered because I needed to work. I didn't have time for that. Like, oh, trauma? I don't have time for that. My mom survived trauma. Yeah, hide it under the bed. But I told myself, if my mom can survive post-traumatic stress disorder from Vietnam and work and raise 3 kids, this is nothing. But also, that's not healthy either. Like, we know that's not healthy. Like, it's going to catch up. Like, the longer you ignore it, the bigger it grows, the bigger and bigger it grows. And it just becomes this dark cloud that follows you everywhere. So I needed time to heal my scars. And I know scars will never fade. But time helps. Scars will always be there, but time helps fade it in a way. Like, you still see like a faint scar, and it's still there, like my trauma, but I've definitely healed from it, and I needed time for that, because I needed time to reflect. I needed time to cry. Yeah. I think that's important too, is crying is so important, and it's so healthy to cry. You feel better after you cry. And
Michelle, I used to produce my cries.
What?
Do you know how fucked up that is?
What do you mean you used to produce your cries?
I remember being on a book tour, and I was going through, so I had, you know, the same journey in terms of like just running the gerbil wheel and so exhausted and just whatever. But then I was also working for people. Yeah. So there were a lot of very toxic experiences where I was being tortured. And I know you had some stuff we'll get to as well that was really tough for you too. But I remember being on a book tour, and I was just at my end. I was so emotional. I was so exhausted. I was being tortured so badly. And I started to cry, and then I was like, nope. Can't cry now. You're going to go see people for your book signing. And I was like, okay. I literally pulled out my phone and looked at my calendar, And I was like, okay, in 4 days, I will be leaving for vacation. And right when I land, I will cry. And I literally thought about it like that. That's how insane my schedule was. And that's what we did. We got to Bora Bora.
Oh my gosh.
And my husband and I went on one of those little boat thingies, like the, paddle boats together. And I ugly cried for hours in the middle of the ocean.
Oh my gosh.
Hysterical, just guttural cries. So yeah, crying is really important.
Wow. I mean, as horrifying as that sounds, it must have been a beautiful setting to cry too.
It was the most beautiful setting ever.
You must, I mean, just to be around all that water too,
Yeah.
the energy. I hope that moment healed you.
Yeah, they
too.
soaked in my tears pretty
Yeah,
good. I added to
salty
that.
tears going back in the salty sea.
But it's really important. And we're so good, especially like we always think as women, like everyone else has it worse. Like we should just suck it up and we just want to keep powering through and powering through. And like you said, it will catch up.
It will catch up. And it's kind of sad if we think about why do you have to produce your cry? Like why do we have to hold it in like that? And it's because society that we built today doesn't honor that part of us, the part of that human aspect of us, of this emotional side of us.
Mm-hmm.
We're not robots, but our society has been built to fundamentally support that, and not the emotional side. I think we care so much when it comes to like businesses about someone's intellect, their IQ. But for me, I always thought to myself, how come we don't measure people's emotional intelligence, their EQ? I think that's just as important.
Yeah.
Because why hire someone that's really smart, but then they are idiots in emotional intelligence? They're not going to make the best business decisions necessarily. Like maybe numbers wise, but I know some people who had really bad just bad intentions when they were running a company. Like for example, I knew someone who was pregnant and she gave birth, and then 2 weeks later she was forced to come back into work. So she didn't even have a real pregnancy leave. Yeah. It's like but during that time the mother has to bond with their child, like, and they didn't care. Yeah. They just care about, well, we gotta make money. It's like, wow. So in a way, I'm also kind of relieved too, because I actually had a really cool conversation with Andrew Yang. I know he's running for president. I was on a podcast with him, and he was talking to me about automation and how in the next 10, 20 years, just jobs will be different, because any job that's repetitive, cashier, call centers and all that, it's going to be replaced. And you were just mentioning even now, like morning, like news shows, not that it's going to be replaced, but it's changing. So we're seeing that there's this huge shift in everything, in different industries, whether it's like content, media, whether it's in different sectors, like for example, like call centers and all of that. So what are we going to do then? Like, are we just meant to just work? What does work even mean today? And so I think that's something that I'm learning now is, what does it mean to work today? Like, how do we redefine what work is, and how do we make it meaningful where people have personal fulfillment with it? Because if we're going to be replaced by robots, I don't think as humans, we're not going to do anything, because we're still going to want to do something.
Oh, there's going to be plenty for us to do that robots can't do. But it's funny, after my surgery, I was like, we need to redefine success.
I agree.
And so we're on the same page with that. And I wonder, when you look back at that time you took off, was it a full 2 years you took off?
It was a full year.
A full year.
A full year.
Were there moments where you had that, like, what am I doing?
Yeah, I need to work. I had that. What are you doing, girl? You got to work. Why aren't you filming this? Why aren't you
being
filming
lame or lazy? I would like throughout this period, I'm like, I would feel so lame or so lazy or whatever. Like I would kind of have moments where I was
guilt. There was this guilt.
There was like something just because society tells you all this
you're not
stuff.
Being productive.
Yeah. And you're seeing everyone else moving so fast and so forward and all this stuff. And you're just kind of like, I'm going to be over here in my garden meditating and having like tea, and I'm just going to be chill. And, I'm not chasing after things in my career. I'm just kind of like, doing what makes me happy, and I'm not doing what my peers are doing. And so I would have those moments, and I wondered if you had them too.
Oh, I totally had those moments. And sometimes I would say last year I would have it too, because I've been absent from the beauty space. And so last year there was a lot of beauty drama. So everyone was asking me, "Where's Michelle? What is she doing?" And
I
so
saw
I
some
felt
of
this
that on
itch.
YouTube.
Yeah, I felt some of this itch. Like, should I get back? But I'm like, no, I don't want to get back because of that. Like, I don't care. That's like high school drama. I should if I want to recreate. If I want to create content again, I should do it because I'm inspired to. And I think most people, they don't have this luxury because they work out of necessity. They have to work. They have to pay these bills. They can't. They're living paycheck by paycheck, and part of me wonders, like, wow, what can I build in the future that can help alleviate this for people, where they can find meaningful work, they can find something that fulfills them, but they can also have some aspect of bringing a skill that they find that's valuable and producing something out of it. Because I think that's beautiful too. Like, I don't think we're meant to just take endless vacations as humans. We're not built like that. We're built to create. And I think this is why it's so great that you even have this podcast too. And also something I love about you is that you're always pushing yourself. Like, you're now doing it live. Like, you didn't have to.
Yeah.
It takes more work actually to do it live, but you want to do it. And I think that's something I've noticed some people are born with that. They're born with this, I want to get better. I want to evolve and get better. And there's other people I've seen and I've worked with where they're okay just being this good.
Yeah.
But that's fine too.
Totally.
I've learned, I used to think, oh, that's bad. But now I'm like, that's not bad. It's just a point of view.
It's just different.
It is different. Exactly.
Yeah. I say, it was funny. I had just before, you can love other people, but no one ever tells you how to actually do it. So do you feel like you found the way to love yourself, and how did you do it?
I think I'm still exploring that self-love, because there's a part of me where I'm just like, man, I hate myself sometimes. But I feel like most people are like that too. Like, I mean, I'm just making fun of that, but there's a part of me where I feel like I don't love that part of myself. And I had to teach myself that there's certain aspects in everyone that you're not going to love, and it's okay because it's part of you. You kind of have to rise above that.
It's called the shadow self.
It is, yeah.
Have you done any research into that?
I have.
You got to listen to our episode with Kelly Casso, right? We talked all about the shadow self.
Way.
It's so good.
I will check it out.
Yeah.
I love that you talk about this too. I think it's really important. But I think it's kind of like exercising self-love. You have to just maintain it. It's not something that you achieve and then done. Self-love forever. It's like, no, you have to work at it every day. Because every day can be really draining, like just society. Like, unless you live completely by yourself in paradise and you don't interact with anyone, but the fact that we interact with people, so we're also taking in their energy too. So if someone's feeling really bad about themselves and insecure, you're going to feel that, whether you believe it or not, but you will, and it's going to affect you in some way, and it's going to manifest in some way. So self-love for me, it's something I learn every day. I learn every day about self-love and how to love myself and how to love others and how to have empathy for myself. Before, I would just be so tough on myself. Even, we were just talking about, we don't even let ourselves cry. But now, if I feel like I have to cry, I will cry.
Yeah.
I'll just be like, I'm about to cry, guys. And I'll make fun of it. And I think because I make fun of it, that I'm about to cry and I do cry, it actually humanizes it to everyone else. Like, oh, it's not a bad thing, crying. Crying is actually great.
Except for when you're on a red carpet and your makeup's going to go everywhere. Like me the other night, someone asked me about my dogs, and it was just it was just how much they mean to me. And I'm like, they're my everything.
I did not see that.
and then the second time it happened again. And I'm like, oh my God.
Oh yeah. What do you do when you do cry like that? You just, do you do the...
Yeah. I do the fingers under and the fingers in, and then I keep wiping.
Yeah.
And then and I'm like,
think of something funny, think of memes.
I turn around, I do some pirouettes and try to change the energy. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to cry here right now.
Okay. With that exception, red carpet. Yes. I agree. But self-love, I learn it every day. I always think about when I truly want to really focus on myself. I imagine myself as a child again. As a little girl before all this. And I keep reminding myself of that. Because sometimes I feel like as you grow older, you kind of forget about your inner child, who you were before you were tainted by society. And so that has kept me grounded in a sense. Just revisiting her and just making sure she's happy too.
I love that. I did a similar kind of process. It's called the Dickens process at a Tony Robbins seminar, where he makes you go back to when you were a little kid and you're like, what would you say to her? And I just lost it. Oh, I can't even think about it. It's like, if you really think about that little kid in you, like, would you be mean to that little kid?
No.
Would you tell that little kid that you were stupid? No.
No.
You know, you would like want to nurture and comfort and love her, but we don't do that to ourselves. We're just, you know, we're usually just robots and machines. Here we go. This is exactly
how
I do it.
On ourselves.
This is how I do it, guys.
She's really good at it.
You are.
This is how I dab the tears. If you're watching on YouTube, this is how
like nothing happened.
And then you just go. It's true though. It's like it's a really important thing. I like that you do that. That's cool. I think life is about like acquiring the tools to get through.
Yeah.
Because as Rocky says, life's going to keep on hitting, and it's just kind of how we're going to navigate it and rise above or get better. You know.
I agree.
There's a lot to deal with in life.
But I've learned that I've learned that I get the best sleep when I go home. I don't watch anything. I don't listen to anything. I lay in bed and just close my eyes and I just kind of reflect on my whole day before I sleep. I get like the best dreams too. Like, do you get any vivid dreams at all?
I love it when I get vivid dreams.
You do?
It makes me so excited. Although I had a nightmare the other day, but
probably anxieties and stuff.
Yeah, it's just a crazy nightmare. But I like it when I can remember them because it means I actually went into deep sleep.
Yeah. I love sleeping, honestly. I love dreaming too. Have you ever had lucid dreams where you can actually take control of your dreams?
I don't know if I've ever thought about it like that. I mean, I've had such real dreams where I'm emoting when I wake up still, like I'm crying or whatever. But what are you talking about specifically?
Have you had a dream where you knew you were dreaming? And so because you knew that you're dreaming and you're still in your dream, you start with your own mind and will. You create whatever you want, whatever reality you want.
You do this?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Sometimes it can happen by accident, like through a nightmare. If you have a nightmare and you know this is a nightmare, this is not real, you can also go into lucid dreaming from that point. But there's it's called wake initiated lucid dreaming, where you can be awake and then as you're slowly dozing off, you're getting tired and tired. I actually recommend people when they want to do this, like if let's say you have to wake up at 8, set an alarm for 5 o'clock, like super early. Like stupid early. Force yourself to wake up and stay awake for like a good 5 minutes and then slowly doze off to sleep. But then like think of something, like a strong visual, whether it's water on the beach and your feet is touching the water, or climbing a tree, or touching like an apple, like something where you can visually touch and feel something and you'll actually see it. Like you think about it first, but then you actually see it and then you're actually in it. And that's when you can lucid dream.
Wow.
So I've taught a few of my friends to lucid dream and it's been crazy. Like they go into it and they create whatever world they want. If they have problems that they have, they can resolve it through their lucid dreaming. But the only downside with lucid dreaming is you don't actually get rest because your mind is still awake.
Yeah, I was going to say now we're working more.
Yeah, but it's fun. Like it's fun.
Sounds like a fun weekend thing. Yeah. When you're deciding to do stuff now that you're like, maybe woke is the term too, right?
Yeah.
How do you decide what you're going to do and what you're not going to do?
Like whether it's a project or a meeting, like even this, I have to ask myself, is this going to fulfill me? Is this something that excites me? Is it going to fulfill me? Or is it just another check mark on the box? And I don't do that anymore. I don't do that check. I don't care about that.
Me too.
Because I've achieved everything I've ever wanted 10 times over. Because I grew up, you would understand, like our parents, like they just had such a hard life. And so I thought, well, my life is going to be like that. And living a life like this, I'm so privileged that I'm so happy. I don't want more. I don't need more. Yeah. And if anything, I gain more from this, I just want to give it back to people. So technically, a few years ago, I could have retired, lived on an island. I decided to take the money and just reinvest it in businesses that excites me. Because for me, it's like money is a tool and it should reinvigorate the economy. It should give people jobs and opportunities. And so that's basically my new motto now is if it's not fulfilling me, I'm not interested. I don't want to do it. And that was something it was a hard lesson I had to learn too, was not every opportunity is made for you, because we're told take every opportunity. It might be the last. But that's not true.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
my dad,
parents
Maria, do you know how I never make that money and just go to the job and do your job and go home? I go, Dad, it's not that easy.
Yeah.
It's not that easy.
Yeah. Well, same with my mom. It's not that easy, but they probably did more labor jobs, right?
Yes.
So,
Yeah,
okay.
my
But they
parents
don't
were
understand
janitors.
the mental. They don't understand that there is also like a mental toll, like a mental health that you have to deal with.
And also, when is enough?
Exactly.
Right? Like my enough is different than your enough, but it's
Yeah.
still enough for me.
Yeah.
I'm still fine. Like I
Yeah.
don't want that anymore. And so we did an episode with this amazing woman, Susie Batiste. She founded Poopery. Are you familiar with her?
Poopery.
Yes.
I have it
Okay.
in my office.
It's the best.
It really is.
Michelle, next time she's in town, we'll all get together. She's my favorite person on the planet.
Oh my gosh.
We'll have to
And-
send her the spoken word speech you did.
So good. She's just such bright light and just awesome.
Well, you
And-
have to be an awesome person to create a product like that.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean,
But like she was
genius.
an entrepreneur who had failed numerous times at everything into her early 40s. And this was the thing. And anyway, we did a whole episode with her and we talked about resonance and dissonance. And she really taught me how to guide my decisions even more. Like I was there, but she put verbiage to it, which always
amazing.
helps. And it's like, okay, does this light me up? Does this make me feel good? Am I going to be happy? Is this going to be exciting? And same thing like with the other,
Yeah.
is like, is this just a check mark? Am I going to be looking at my watch? Am I miserable? Whatever. And if I'm in a meeting and it's going dissonant, and I'm like, okay, we got to go.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't right.
Yeah. You have to
So-
know when to just say no. And saying no isn't necessarily a negative connotation. Like saying no to an opportunity, like it's just not meant for me. It's
Yeah.
not meant for me now. Maybe later, maybe never, but it's okay to say no, because not every opportunity is meant for us.
Mhm.
And I think I would have saved myself a lot of time and headaches had I said no to a bunch of other opportunities that didn't
Yeah.
really help me. And I mean, I learned a lot from it, but did it help fundamentally my career? No.
Yeah. But those are the opportunities generally that everyone's like, you'd be crazy not to do.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
so then
But that's
you're like,
what everyone
okay,
else
clearly I'm
thinks.
crazy.
Yeah. I like being crazy. You know, in the world where everyone's normal, if I'm not normal, then I'm okay being crazy.
Yeah.
Being crazy is cool.
Well, that is different than people thinking you're crazy for not taking an opportunity. So
Yeah.
I'm good with crazy because we're definitely not
Me
normal in
too.
this place.
Well, people thought I was crazy for leaving YouTube. Like
Of
a bunch of my YouTube
course.
friends, like, what?
Yeah.
What? You're leaving? I'm like, yeah, I'm just going.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Like, I'm good. What? But you have like 1 billion views. Like, you can keep this going. I'm like, I know I can, but I can keep this going. But then I'm gonna be crazier after
I'm going to go
this.
with
Yeah.
it. Yeah. And I always say
literally.
just because I can doesn't mean I should.
Yeah. Everyone's
So-
burning out. And I think the moment you do burn out, that's your body telling you, hey, like your body's literally telling you, you gotta slow down. Like, I can't keep up with this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I had all of that. And that's why life has just changed so much. But you know, it's funny. I don't feel like guys have these issues as much. I mean, they definitely do. Steven's giving me the what eyes. But like my husband's like, he's Energizer Bunny nonstop. And he thought I was crazy for a while too. He's like, all right, you gotta get going. You gotta get going. I'm like, no, not feeling it. Not feeling it. My dad like, okay. He's looking at me like, are you gonna, get back on TV? And I'm like, nope, not yet. Not there
Yeah.
yet. But there's so many more pressures on women. It's so much harder for us because we also have to look good.
Yeah.
So between hair and makeup and all of the things that we have
Yeah.
to do upkeep wise and, the bevy of other things that are on the list, it's a lot more work being a woman.
It is. It is. That's why, even now, like I have a lot of people who are asking me, oh, Michelle, like, are you gonna have kids? Are you gonna get married? What are you gonna do?
Mhm.
It's like, what? What do you mean? Like, I have to just do what? So there's a blueprint to living life, and I have to follow this. But so many people who follow this, they end up miserable anyways. I know so many people who have kids, and You know, I love kids. Like, I do want to have kids, but they're so miserable with their kids. They're so miserable with their kids. And they're like, yeah, it's a thankless job, Michelle. You should be happy you don't have kids. I'm like, what? Really?
But then they'll turn around the next day and be like, when are you having kids?
Yeah,
When are you
exactly.
joining us in our misery?
Misery inspires misery for sure.
Oh, God.
But it's like, I don't think everyone's meant to live. We're not meant to live a life where everything's planned out. Everyone's so different. Like you were saying, like, we're just different. And I think it's fine to choose different things. But because social media, people have so many opinions. And, you know, if you're a mom and you feed your child a certain way, you're shamed for this. Or maybe like if you don't look, you know, you gain a little weight because you weren't exercising, then you're shamed for that. Like everyone's just shamed for so many things. And I just realized there's just so many unhappy people, and you just have to cancel out the noise at that point, because you can't stop people from making an opinion. They have the right to think and say whatever they want, but you also have the right to either accept it or just reject it or just completely ignore it. And so that was something I had to learn too. And also something I had to kind of help guide a lot of my other friends who are in the beauty space and influencer space, where they're fresh into it and they're just becoming popular. So they're being scrutinized for every little thing, they're being scrutinized. I'm like, you know, if you live your whole life you're going to be scared to post anything because you don't want to upset anyone, then just don't be a public figure. Yeah. You can't be a public figure.
It's so hard.
It is hard, but it's also, it comes with it. Like you have to accept that there's a lot of unhappy people, and you're basically a digital punching bag for a lot of people, and you have to be okay with that and just take the punches and just rise above them.
Were you always good at taking them?
Not in the beginning. I think in the beginning I was offended. My ego is definitely more fragile at that point in my early career, because I wanted to please everyone. I was a people pleaser. So if I didn't please someone who hated me, then what did I do wrong? And then there's something wrong with me, or there's something wrong with them then. So it was always like something's wrong with either me or them. It was always like a blame game, but it was a war. It was always this war between who's right, who's wrong. But now it's like, I don't even care. If I post something and people are offended by it, I'm like, well, that's fine. I don't care anymore. I mean, that's your opinion and I can't change it. And the only thing I have control over is really how I react to this situation. And I'm going to react by not giving a shit and just moving on. Yeah.
These are things, a lot of these things that you probably really had time to think about too in that time. Because I know for me, I came to so many conclusions and I was able to make sense of so much and have so many breakthroughs in these last 2 years. And so,
because you've taken that break, right?
Because your brain needs a break, your heart needs a break, your body needs the break.
Is it weird seeing yourself on old TV stuff? Like, do you feel like that's still you? Or?
It's funny. I watched my husband just help me cut like a reel of like everything I've done, and it's really like, it's so cool to watch, because I'm like, oh my God, I've done so many different things, and it's so cool. But I always told him it didn't define me. And I didn't know if he believed me. He'd always be like, I think you'll be sad without it. And I'm not. So it's funny. Like, we're doing the things that we want to do, whether it's this podcast or our network AfterBuzz and other projects, but like at my pace, at the way I want to do them. And it's just a better kind of way of life now.
Yeah. Quality content. You know, if you were rushed and you did a bunch of other things, we wouldn't even be able to you wouldn't even have this room. Yeah. You wouldn't have time for it. Yeah. So for me, I think if you can dedicate more time to creating something quality, whether it's your life and the work that you do, I think it's worth it. And people want to criticize, well, why aren't you producing more? Well, then they're just living on that timeline, and you can't really convince them. They're just going to have to see it from this angle. And I think most people, especially after taking my hiatus, most YouTubers, they don't understand how I think because they haven't taken a break. And so the moment and I've noticed the ones who are taking breaks now and they're coming to me, it's like they look back on their channel like, I don't know who that person was. I'm like, same. I feel the same way. Like, I don't know who that person was either, because we're always changing and evolving. And if you don't give yourself time to take a moment and pause and reflect. Yeah.
And let those changes settle in. And like, then you approach everything with a different take. It's a lot. Well, I feel like I'm excited. It's funny. I'm always excited for Steph because she's so young and she's getting to hear from all these amazing people in this show. and getting to learn and implement this stuff. But like the same for you, you're 10 years behind me and you're already at that place where you've realized what makes you happy and what is important and what isn't, but without getting sick.
Exactly. Yeah,
And that's
I'm
the
blessed.
hugest part of that.
Yeah.
So that's my goal with this show is like, let's get everybody like starting to pay attention to the things that they need to pay attention to and bring in the people that are going to help us get better so that you don't have to get sick before you've had these breakthroughs in your life.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't back burner everything for too long.
Yeah.
Or else it just starts festering.
No matter what, it will fester. Did we miss anything that we needed to?
I feel like we talked about so many things.
We talked about so many things.
I have to come back again.
And I never looked at like anything because I love having a conversation and just seeing where it goes. And
no, we really went through it.
Yeah. So with that, we will have a part 2 if you're up for it at some point.
I am.
And thanks so much for coming.
We do always ask one thing.
Oh, yes. How do I always forget my signature question at the end? But thank God I have Stephanie. So we always ask everybody how they are getting better in their day-to-day life, which this whole interview is focused on that pretty much. But is there something new you've implemented into your life? I mean, are you meditating or...
What am I doing in my life that
have you committed to like weekly facials? Are you scheduling vacations more? What?
Maybe not vacations. I do love working. But I work now like you at my own pace, and I take on projects that excites me. I would say something new that I've implemented in my life. I've been learning how to just make music for fun, but not singing, like making beats, like lo-fi music.
Yeah,
I'm just learning how to make it for fun, and it's been so meditative because I'm taking all of my favorite soundtracks from different animes and video games that I've always loved, and just remixing it and just making something fun out of it. So that's been super therapeutic because when you're plugged in and you're just making the beats, it's like my mind just wanders. I don't even think at this point. I think I'm in some weird zone in I'm in the 5th dimension or something, and it's just. Yeah, it's been so helpful for me and very healing too.
That's so cool.
And I get to create something out of it and I can share it. And
are you sharing that on your YouTube platform?
No, I'm just uploading anonymously on SoundCloud.
Wow.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, I'm just like, no one's going to know. Just let it just go wherever it goes.
Oh, that's so cool.
I do have one question for Michelle I didn't get to mention because I'm an Asian American woman too. So now we're getting all this beautiful representation like you, Ali Wong, Ali Maki, Gemma Chan. And I read this really interesting article from Teen Vogue that was saying people think that now we're getting the representation post Crazy Rich Asians. But people like you and the YouTubers are the ones who have been trailblazing that. Is that something you guys you've noticed or discussed or ever came to mind?
You know what's interesting, and I don't know if this will relate to the article, but I've noticed that whenever there's a new platform, this is just something I've noticed. I've noticed that Asians are normally the first adopters, the early adopters. So when YouTube first started out, the top YouTubers back then were all Asian. I would say at least 80% were Asians. And then MySpace, Asians. Friendster, Asians. Bitcoin, Asians. It's interesting seeing that. And part of me wonders why, but maybe it's like a cultural thing. Maybe Asians, they just spend more time on the computer. I don't know. I also don't want to like stereotype
label
things.
It. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it is something I've noticed. And maybe someone in the comment, they might have a better explanation, but that's what I've noticed is a lot of Asians tend to be early adopters to platforms, media platforms. But yeah, I definitely do think Crazy Rich Asians helped mark us in the mainstream, maybe mainstream American world, but like, come on, I grew up with like K-pop, early K-pop, like BoA, like this is like early K-pop. Like I always felt so connected to just that culture, just Asian culture, even being American too. So I don't think Crazy Rich Asians made Asians more popular. I think if it did, then it's mostly maybe middle Americans.
Yeah, I think that's really accurate. It's like you weren't seeing in mainstream movies Asians starring in. I mean, there was Lucy Liu. There are so many, but it's like to have an entire cast.
Exactly.
Right? It's like My Big Fat Greek Wedding. That was huge for us.
Oh yeah.
I
love that movie.
So good.
So it's like for us, that was so huge. Like to see, like we had like a Greek here or there. Now it's like, oh my God, we're like
crazy
taking over.
when you see just representation makes, I mean, it's so impactful.
Yeah.
It's so impactful. And you don't even realize it because, well, I didn't realize it because I'm American. Even being Asian growing up, every magazine cover, I didn't really see my face on it. But when I was on YouTube and I saw all the comments from people saying, I'm so happy to see someone that looks like me, I didn't realize, wow, I guess that is a big deal.
Yeah.
Because I didn't grow up. I mean, I didn't grow up seeing that. And so when you do grow up seeing that, it brings a lot of confidence, and you feel like you're represented. And I think that's really important. So yay, internet. Thank you, internet, for being invented. I think internet is one of the greatest inventions of the 21st century that helped us learn and see more things. And this is why we're all connected.
Yeah.
Right?
But can social media maybe die? I don't know.
I think social media will evolve for sure.
Oh my God.
For sure,
it's so
for sure.
exhausting.
Maria can't stand.
Well,
I hate it.
It's only
I
exhausting.
almost quit social media after my surgery.
It's only exhausting because it's only owned by a few companies. That's it. But I truly believe with Bitcoin decentralization, the future will be niche. And so everyone's going to have their own private internet. I mean, I know it sounds crazy what I'm saying now, but in 10 years, you'll see it.
Wait, you're saying we're going to have our own internet?
Yes,
So
we'll have our own
curate
private
what we
satellite
want.
with our own internet. So in China, they create satellites now where they can launch a satellite, and there's microsatellites coming out. So with all these satellites in space, we're going to have you can have internet in Antarctica if you wanted to, beam down. So and internet will be more private too, because of security reasons.
Wow.
Yeah. So we can like, I think the whole .com thing, there's not going to be .com anymore. It's going to be like .tv, .everything. There's going to be everything. Everything's going to be categorized.
So it's going to splinter even more.
Yes. More niche. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, that's what part 2 is going to be all about.
Yes.
Predictions. We could
I
have
love
like
that.
a predictions
Futurist.
episode.
Yeah,
like
we
we
could do
start talking about
futurist.
everything and
Yeah.
where we think it could go. That would be so fun.
Yes.
Welcome to the Joe Rogan podcast.
Like makeup won't be makeup anymore. Like we're going to have a chip in our body, and then we can look at it and tell it put eyeliner on, and
Did
then
you
the
see this
eyeliner
girl?
comes on.
She printed skin. I mean, it scanned her face, and then they printed something that looked like skin, and she applied it on, and it completely covered her acne scars, blemish, and everything. It was just a prosthetic thing that's so thin, like
What?
it's like tissue paper thin. She put it on. I'm like, dang, I don't have to use a blending brush or anything.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Inventions are so cool.
Next podcast.
Yes. Well, Michelle Phan, thank you so much
This
for
was
being
fun.
with us.
Thank you for having me.
If you're watching us on YouTube, we're going to take a quick break, but we will be back. All right, Steph, what did we learn? Steven, too, if you learned anything, you can channel.
I learned a lot from this one. I loved watching you guys interact. Definitely the ability to say no and listening to, this is always what you harp on, but when things don't feel right, it's not right for you, and you don't need to be doing everything, and you can still be an overachiever and not get a brain tumor.
Yes. Yes, I know. This is very true. Steven, anything?
Well, you gotta call me out like that. No, yeah, I
No,
definitely
you
learned
don't
a
have
good
to.
amount.
Listen, I got to get to a meeting. I missed my dance class already. Like, we started a little later today than normal. So you don't need to have a realization, Steven. I mean, you could apologize for
nearly getting killed,
for,
not having the video ready. I have it now, but I did learn that like a lot of the things that I fear is like if anything ever falls out from underneath my feet, like what's going to happen. And I just have to trust that, like, you can take a break, you can figure it out. And at every moment, you're making the best decision you can at that moment. You have to trust your gut.
Yeah.
And trusting your gut's like one of the biggest things I think really helps in this case.
Yeah. It's hard. Okay, so for the benefit of anyone watching live, Steven's going to put up a quick clip to show you what the new woke studio looks like as Kevin's in here filming me and Steph. And Steph, I imagine you were socialing out everywhere. I threw the cue at you to make sure you knew what I was saying.
Twitter and IG have a live link.
Yeah, but even on YouTube, can't you like tell people we were live on YouTube?
No.
Oh, I don't know.
But we can definitely look into that.
We're live
I don't
right
know.
now.
I'm terrible.
We got nice people in the chat.
Wow, look at this
what are
studio.
the chat? What are people saying in the chat? I want to see. Steph, are you engaging in the chat?
Yes, we were in the chat.
Are people loving the
really
new
held
studio?
it down.
Check it out. It's so beautiful.
It looks like a new studio. It looks amazing. Honestly, it looks really great on the smartphone.
Yeah.
Brandy Lee in the chat. She's also a Tomorrow Show fan. We love her, part of the family. Mina Wahab, George Corey, A-Tray. They were all engaging, loving the conversation,
Nice.
especially seeing two powerful women who have been through similar but different situations.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And Stephen,
Really awesome.
do we have some reviews to get to?
We do. We have like 5 of them, like really fresh ones from today.
Oh, sweet.
Maria the Bomb by Nilsuka. I recently came to realize that I needed to be well in order to do well. I've been listening to Better Together every morning as part of my journey to healing. It's so informative, relatable, and fun. Over the weekend, I watched Heal on Maria's recommendation. Amazing. Not only does Maria have access to incredible people and phenomenal wisdom and knowledge, but she shares it. That is so huge. To make it a healthier way of living and to make it in the entertainment business and then to share that knowledge with others for free is epic and beyond generous. And I'm so very grateful for the work that you do. It matters, it helps, it provides options, ideas, and a window into wellness, into a better life. I get all that from Maria's example and of how to show up in life. I get that from her podcast, You the Bomb. Thank you so much for all that you do.
Aww.
That's a
Heal
good one.
documentary.
Yeah.
We do have Kelly Noonan, the director of the Heal documentary, coming the end of
soon.
September.
We also have another amazing guest coming up, and that's Amy Cuddy.
Yes.
Who wrote the book Presence.
Yes. One of the top 10 TED Talks of all time on body language.
Yeah.
That will be
I'm really excited
epic.
for her, too.
Really epic.
We got more. We have from Rini Barb says, thank you. I listen to many podcasts. However, the calmness that comes over me on my drive to and from work was needed more than you know. Thank you for understanding what we were all looking for and keeping it real. Roadie Girl, MMN Team from Allie Jean says, Better Together is sure up there with my favorite podcasts. Over the course of 7 months during my 1-hour commute each way, who does that in Rhode Island, I have learned to tongue scrape, oil pull, manifest, meditate, and most importantly, slow my mind way down.
Yes.
In knowing that I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. I love Maria's humble approach to life and ability to keep it real. Love, 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 love. Go Patriots.
Aww.
And
Still tongue scraping myself and dry brushing and all. Carry on.
And we have another one from the other Captain America who says, live, laugh, and learn. One of the best ways to start my days is listening to Maria and hearing her positivity and learning from the incredible people she talks with.
So cool. Thanks, everybody. Keep the ratings and the comments coming. Of course, subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you love the show, be sure to tell a friend so they can join us here. And socialing out your favorite episode always helps. If you want to reach us, you can reach us at bettertogetherwithmaria@gmail.com, or you can just visit mariamenounos.com and find us there. And we're also launching a Patreon that's going to include exclusive episodes and access and surprises, right, Stephen?
It's launched. So the Patreon is up. You can subscribe now. We'll be starting to roll out new content for you on the weekly. And it's really exciting. You can go to patreon.com/Maria Menounos. And you can also now go to youtube.com/Maria Menounos, and it will take you right to our page to watch this show live every Monday.
I don't know how to do any of this stuff. So Steven's the one who's like, we need to do a Patreon. You need to give your audience more. And so we're doing it. And we hope you guys will join us. So you can go to patreon.com/join/Maria Menounos, or any of the amazing things he said that I didn't pay much attention to. What was it again?
Anything /Maria Menounos will get you to our Patreon and our YouTube. Yes.
Or if you go to mariamenounos.com, you can find it there too. Okay, perfect. In the meantime, if you want to keep up with the great Michelle Phan and her latest endeavors, you can go to michellefan.com or mcosmetics.com and hellothematic.com. So, fun interview. She's amazing. I love her. She's such a great girl, and she's so smart. And we have so much to learn from her. So we're going to do a part 2 with her at some point.
About the future.
Yes. And she gave me a really cool tip. What was the company called? I already forgot it. Thank God you wrote it down.
Yeah, I have it right
here. You emailed
here.
it to me.
Yes.
Chef something. It was called.
1 second. We got this.
Yeah, I'm looking at my phone too.
Cloud Kitchen.
Honey. So she was telling me about Cloud Kitchen from Maria's Greek Delights is something we should look into. And even it's replacing food trucks. So even for my dad. So we'll talk about that in the next episode. Thank you guys for being with us on this new Monday, new woke studio. My husband's sitting in there, and I just want to say, honey,
Christmas starts in August.
Christmas starts in August. Another
Yes, it
plug
does.
for his podcast. No, I just want to say thank you, honey, for my new studio. I love you. Okay. Bye, everybody. Follow us at Maria Menounos, at Michelle Phan, at Steph Sabra, at Stephen Lemieux Photo. And remember, be nice people, make good choices, and be present.